What is up, people? It is me, Monster58, and welcome back to another video review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the SH Figuarts Earth's Foremost Fighter, Yamcha. Now, this figure, I wasn't really doing a ton of research for this, and I didn't really look too much into the figure besides looking at the product shots of it, stuff like that, right? Like what they revealed with their photos. And I didn't realize this figure had gotten a lot of flack, actually. A lot of people really hate this figure. And there are areas where I can understand that. We'll get into it when we get into the figure. But I looked up some reviews in the past couple days to, get an idea of what people were saying about it. Yeah, I didn't realize that this figure was getting a lot of hate. But taking a look at the box at the very least, you can see the nice product shot here of Yamcha. You do have the nice Yamcha Earth's Foremost Fighter. The SH Figuarts got the Dragonball Z. The Bandai Tamashii Nation's got the toy animation logo right there. You do have some more nice product shots here. Got some nice, Yamcha Earth's Foremost Fighter, and then the Japanese kanji that goes along with that. And then we do have our obligatory product shots. Now, this is obviously supposed to replicate how he appeared in the Android as well as the Cell Saga, but for me, I really wanted to pick him up just to complete the Z-Fighters, because I never picked up that original Yamcha release from, like, the Saiyan Saga, right, where he had the long hair, and where he got killed by the Cybermen. But without further ado, I think that is about it for the box. And so, alrighty folks, here we have the SH Figuarts Yamcha Earth's Foremost Fighter out of the box. And I gotta say, this guy I don't think is nearly as bad as what people are sort of giving it for. Now, I don't know the exact complaints. I just know that this figure is getting a lot of flack. But what I do understand is that when I have this figure in hand, it's not nearly as egregious as what people I don't think it's nearly as egregious as it's necessarily being made out to be. Excuse me, that's what I was trying to say. With this figure, I do have issues with it, but the main thing I'll just say about the release right off the rip is it just exists. This figure exists, and it's not breathtaking. It's not amazing. I would say it's solid, but it's not bad either. It just exists, and I feel bad for saying this, but like I said in the intro, honestly, the main reason I'm picking this up is, well, number one, I don't want to pay the scalper prices for the original Yamcha figure, and two, finish the Z-Fighters off. With this guy in my collection, I now have all of the Z-Fighters, and that makes me extremely happy. But let's take a look at the details here. So, the head sculpt is actually very, very nice. You can see that the head sculpt is very accurate to how he appeared in the show. Like, I can't complain about that, right? Very, very nice overall. Got the nice eyes. I think the eyes might be a little too big, but overall pretty solid. You got the nice scar, obviously, and the other scar in his cheek as well. Very, very nice there. Coming down here, there's a lack of shading, particularly here, and you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but in certain light, the head and the neck kind of don't match the chest as well. You can see it in person, and you'll see and understand what I'm saying, especially in the right light, but they're not quite the same, I don't think, but you do have some nice sculpted in detail. It's just I wish there was some shading at some point here. You got some nice sculpture going down here. I believe this is that 2.0 body, I believe. Then coming down here, you do have the nice, the logo, the nice belt here. This is a darker blue from the original when I was watching a review on it. These are also, the feet are also blue, darker blue instead of the black. In addition, you do have some minor shading here on the pants, which is pretty nice. So you can see, you might be able to see some of that, but there is some shading on the pants as well. Coming here on the back, you can see the very nice the Gi logo as well, and then some more sculpted in detail. Yeah, it's just fine. The main issue I have with this, I'm going to say this, is the neck. Now, a lot of people say it's not, some people say it's not really that bad, other people say it's bad. What I'll say is, from certain angles, it looks really weird. Specifically when you're, like, looking straight on. I don't know if that looks weird to you guys, but you can see I think the neck should be a tad bit shorter. If not, the head should be a bit chunkier, because I remember one of the reviews I watched, someone left a comment where I believe, did Demoniacal Fit make a Yamcha, or another figure line made a Yamcha in this scale? And what they did is they actually took the head off that one and put it on this body, and it was much better. Another thing that someone also quoted is that during this time, during the Android and Cell Saga, which I definitely can see, is that they trained. And although Yamcha didn't train as hard as Goku or Piccolo or Gohan, especially even like Vegeta, right? He did get buffer. Yamcha did get more buff, and this is still using that body from the Saiyan Saga, right? So using that Saiyan Saga body, and at the end of the day, he was skinnier then because he wasn't as buff because he didn't train as hard. So I do wish that maybe that upper torso could have been a bit strengthened. I forget which review also pointed that out, but I watched a review the other day that also pointed that out where um the uh the chest should be a bit bigger because he is a bit buffer. Maybe the arms could stand to be a bit bigger. But again, I think it's pretty solid. It's just not as accurate or as cool as that maybe anyone would have wanted. But at the end of the day, I feel bad for saying this. Yamcha really isn't that character. Yamcha is a character, if you are a Dragon Ball fan, that just gets memed on because he dies, right? He gets memed on for his deaths or near death experiences, right? And so what are you gonna do, right? But I still think the details are nice. There's just a lack of shading. The eyes might be a tad big, but I think they're okay. I think they're fine. There is some shading. Again, it's solid overall, just not breathtaking. So, without further ado, we're gonna do some comparisons. We're gonna do two in particular. So we're gonna set Yamcha off to the side there. And here he is with Goku. Here he is with the recently released, like, the 3.0, like, Super Saiyan, Legendary Super Saiyan Goku. And this is accurate. Yamcha was taller than Goku. In addition to that, Tien is also taller than Yamcha. And that's the actual issue when it comes to Tien. I'm going to say a lot of people are saying, oh, Yamcha should not be the same height as Tien. Well, that's more of a Tien issue. Tien should be, I believe, if you look it up, Tien is 6'2", Goku is 5'9", and Yamcha is 6 foot. And so this is perfect scale. Like, this is exactly how they should scale between Goku and Yamcha. So I am perfectly happy with this scale. It's just Tien is the one that has the issue. I don't think it's Yamcha or Goku in terms of the scale. I think it's Tien. Alrighty, folks, and obviously the other character that I'm going to compare him with is Dr. Gero, and the reason being is because, well, guess what? He has an accessory that shows, Dr. Gero stabbing him, and so I'm going to bring him in. This is about how they scaled. I obviously in the show, you saw Dr. Gero pick Yamcha up and, hold him by his head, right, his chin and in his mouth area and everything like that, but Dr. Gero was a fair bit smaller. He was not a tall character. He was a relatively short character in comparison to everybody else. So this scale, I think, works perfectly fine between him and Yamcha. Alrighty, and with that out of the way, let's get into the articulation. And the articulation is pretty standard. You do have a ball joint here, you have a joint here at the base of the neck, and the ball joint here at the actual top of the neck, so you do get a full 360. You can look down about that far, you can look up about that far, not too much, but you do get this movement side to side, which is always really nice. You do get a butterfly joint here, not a huge one, but you do get one. You can do a full 360. You have an upper bicep rotation. You do have an elbow joint. You have a solid bend there, and then you have ball jointed wrists as well. You actually can get a full 360 because there is a lack of anything that's blocking, so you actually can get a full 360 with the waist. You also do have an ab crunch there, and then you do have back pretty decently far as well. Then for the legs, you can kick, so you can rotate this actually, and then you can kick forward about that far. You can kick back like so. You have more than 90 at the knee. You also have an upper thigh rotation, and then you do have ball jointed ankles. So overall, solid articulation. Like I told you, this release just exists, and again, I feel bad for saying it, but this figure, in my opinion, only exists in people's collections to finish off the Z-Fighters as a whole, as a group. And for me, that's absolutely my purpose in buying this guy. It's not really anything else when it comes to, like, oh, I love Yamcha as a character. No, it's more of, I want to complete the Z-Fighters, and Yamcha is an integral part to the Z-Fighter cast. So, yeah. Alrighty, folks, and now the final thing we're going to go over is the accessories. So taking a look at them, let's go over the hands really quickly. As you can see, you do have the two nice blast effect hands. Very, very standard for the Figuarts line, specifically for Dragon Ball. Again, very nice. Nothing crazy. Very standard. Same thing with these. You have, like, whoops, I mixed those up. You have the fighting pose hands here, so very, very nice. You can use these as grappling hands as well. People I know are good. It's also advertised to use these in the display where you have Dr. Gero choking the life out of Yamcha and sucking his ki away, and stabbing him through the chest. And then you also have these other fighting pose hands, which is also very nice. Again, very standard for SH Figuarts. And then you do have the faces. So you do have a, like, terrified face, as Yamcha usually is. You can see the sculpting on that, and the paint is actually very, very nice. I very much enjoy how that's done. You can also see he has, like, this is like the moment he realizes that the androids are the androids. This is the face he makes. If I can see if I can put a picture off to the right there to show you which face I'm talking about. But yeah, he goes, they're here, right? So there is that face, and then you also have the face with the hand attached. Now, you cannot remove the hand, that is glued in, but yeah, you can see there is the picture, or the face where he gets grabbed by Dr. Gero, and then stabbed through the chest. And speaking of that, let's get into that accessory. So what it does is it just essentially clips on, so this whole thing here, this will clip onto his back, and then you can, then you have the hand there that simulates him stabbing, and then this will clip onto the front, and then you put Dr. Gero's arm here on the front. So let me go and show that to you right now. Actually, I'll show you how to remove the face. So to remove the face is just grab, I like to grab the chin, and then you pull up, and then you can do that, and then you can put the, let's say, the terrified face on, right? Very nice. And then you just have I'll show you, have those, a bunch of those tabs right there in the head, and you have a bunch of them right here on the back of the face plate, and then you just bam, and then there you go. You can have Yamcha with this terrified face, and then that goes for the other faces. The hands are also very easy as well. So I'll just go ahead and show that right now. Let's plug that back on. So you just very carefully pull the hand off, and then you can have him with a blast hand, for example, like this. It's a little tough though. These ball joints I'm always careful with. Oh, come on. Work with me here. There we go. Took a little bit of doing, but there you can have him with that. And then obviously, again, all you got to do is remove it. And then you can just take the fist, plug that back on. Like so. Jesus, that's actually very tough. Forget that. And then, the other thing I'll show is now the Dr. Gero thing. So, to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove this face again. And then we're actually going to put on this face right here. So, put that on. And then what you got to do is, I like to lift his arms up so you get some room. And then you take this, and then you'll notice these little hooks here on the side. And then they'll just hook right here, essentially. So, you just got to do this. Hook that, and then you have that on the back, which looks really solid. And then on the front, you'll also do the same here. Make sure that this is on the right side, so towards his heart, right? Where his heart would be. His right, his left, our right. So you'll do this, and then what you'll do is you'll come here to a Dr. Gero, and then what you'll do is you'll remove the hand on the one arm, and then you'll remove the entirety of this arm. And then what you'll do is you'll come here. You'll plug that in, and then, whoops, well, this is the tough part. I'll honestly say this is not easy. So, do this, and then you just gotta bend you have to bend his arm correctly to get this right. Yeah, this is tough. So there's that, and then now you can just sort of move him. I guess you should do the hand on the face first. That's my fault. You can hand on the face first. Make sure that's all clipped in. And then you can obviously like give him the hands that would like simulate that him trying to, you know, take his hand off. But yeah, there you go. And then you just got to do this. Lift him up a bit, and essentially here is that display. So we'll get all this out the way for the time being. But yeah, here is that display that you guys would probably be looking for. Now, to get the full effect, you definitely need a stand, because Dr. Gero, as you can see, cannot hold Yamcha's body weight. It would be more like, and also his arms are short, but it would be something like this. And luckily you can have it while he's standing, but obviously the effect, I'll show you the picture in the show. This is how it should look, right? Because Yamcha is being lifted up, he's not, you know, he's a taller, but he should be lifted up like this, right? So you need that full effect, but you can see it actually does simulate it very nicely, like especially when you're looking at it from like this angle. Actually, it looks really good. It's simulating it. Very, very cool. So, again, I like the fact that you have this display option, although I think the implementation is a bit funky. You'll have to go in the hand first, and then you'll have to do the one on the chest after and plug that in. But overall, I think it's still really cool that they offer you this. It's just, I think the implementation is not the best. This is a bit finicky to get it. But once you get it like this, it's actually pretty solid. So, Still really happy you have this. Very nice display option. And again, I just feel bad for Yamcha that his best moments, or the moments you remember him most by, are him getting killed. Or basically, well, he doesn't get killed here, almost gets killed here. But yeah, so very cool that they give you this option. Alrighty, folks, so from my final concluding thoughts on the SH Figuarts Yamcha, Earth's foremost fighter, this is okay. It's just solid. I mean, I'm not going to say it's breathtaking. I don't say it's bad by any stretch of the imagination. Personally, if you have a bad experience with it, I totally understand with it. For me, let's take the bad out of the way. First off, the body could have been a little bit better. I think there could have been more shading. The detail is nice, although the shading is a bit lacking. In addition to that, I also think that when it comes to the neck proportions, I think it is a tad bit longer, or the head could be a bit chunkier. Either way, one of those two things, in my opinion, is an issue, especially from certain angles. From other angles, it looks fine. From other angles, it just doesn't look right to me. In addition to that, I'd say another sort of like bad thing about it is sort of the view of this figure, and where it sits in terms of like why you're buying it. You really aren't buying it for the fact that it's Yamcha. You're buying it for the fact that Yamcha is a part of the Z-Fighters. If you get what I'm saying, you're buying him to complete the set, and at the end of the day, if you have the original figure, if you have that original Yamcha figure, don't bother buying this one. Just keep that one. You even get the Cyberman with the original one. So just keep that one, and don't bother buying this one, in my personal opinion. But if you're like me and never got the original figure, that's exactly why I picked this up. But let's talk about the good. The accessory array is relatively very nice. You can get some pretty solid poses out of this guy as well. In addition, like I told you, even though the shading is lacking, the detail is rather nice. In addition to that, I think the faces are very well done, in the fact that you get that accessory that gives you the accessories that give you the option to be able to show him being stabbed is really, really a cool display option if you want to go that route. I like having display options because it gives a lot of different collectors different ways of the way that they want to display their figures and stuff like that, and I think that's always a big W. So overall, out of a 10, I'll give this thing an 8 or a 7. And would I recommend it to you guys if you don't have the original? Yes. If you do, don't bother. Again, I'm buying this to complete my Z-Fighter collection. And again, the people who may be saying that Tien, is just as tall as Tien, that's not a Tien issue, that is a Yamcha issue, absolutely. I mean, that's not a Yamcha issue, that is a Tien issue. Tien should be a bit bigger than he actually is in his figure form. But other than that, guys, yeah, I did pick mine up on the Big Bad Toy Store, so I'll leave a link in the description to that. Also, I'll see if I can find an Amazon listing. If not, then it'll just be BBTS in the description below. But with that, I think that is about it. So I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends, and also follow me in the socials. Those will be linked down in the description below. And with that, guys, and once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video review. And I will catch you all in the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.